Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes.
The board will now adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussing the character, professional competence, or physical or mental health of an individual personnel. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to move into closed for reasons stated.
Okay. Roll call, right? Yes, Meredith, yes.
Nick, yes.
Eileen, yes. Kathleen, yes. Susan, yes. our meeting. And we will start out with hearing from JD on soil mitigation.
Okay, I'll give a little back history, just so, in case there's any questions about that. I got a little, done a couple slides here. So this is the environmental covenant. See that dot, it's kind of hard to see, but that dotted line there is what encompasses the environmental covenant. Basically splits down Comstock there and goes everything to the east. So everything to the west of Comstock is in the soils boundary for Park City on the next slide. Nope. It's, you're gonna have to paint that over if you can. That's the soils ordinance boundary for Park City, right? And they have a whole code that you have to follow for theirs, as well as what's contained in the environmental covenant. So, the district hired R&R Environmental in December. Now, R&R also did all the mitigation for the soil behind Treasure Mountain as well. So they were the environmental group for that. They were hired in December under a professional service agreement for the district to do all of this here at Treasure Mountain and at Dozier, right? Because that still falls within Park City ordinance. So we began having coordination meetings in January with everybody on the team, including R&R. The general contractor, all the consultants, and what came out of that is, so in order to stay compliant with the environmental covenant, we have developed work orders basically that define all the work, right? If you'll go to the next slide. So you can see them there. This is just a snapshot of what they are, but it kind of defines all of the procedures for working underneath the environmental covenant. So they're written up and they're submitted to the Utah DEQ through the environmental consultant for comment and for acceptance, right? They come back with comments if they don't like the way any of the work's being, proposed to be done or any of the other controls there. They also have submitted a soils management plan to them, which encompasses the whole thing, right? And so, and they will also be on site during the construction and they will be taking tests to grab samples, that type of stuff to keep that, and then all that stuff gets submitted to DEQ. So that's kind of the gist of it. I don't know if you guys have any questions about that, but you can kind of see, this is just, some of these are 200 pages long, if you can believe it. So I didn't put the front sheets in there just so you can kind of see what we've submitted, but this has been going on, like I said, since December. So where we've been working with DEQ to make sure that we're compliant and everything else. You'll probably see fencing go up around the whole thing. It'll be a controlled site. You will not just be able to walk in there. People even, you're gonna have to be escorted if you don't have the proper training and a few of the other things that are required. And so you'll see kind of a controlled environment there with the gate and maybe a guardhouse type situation where you gotta kind of check in before you get in there. So that's kind of the short version of the soil. So
JDDQ right now is working on reviewing the plan.
correct. They were in our coordination meeting 2 weeks ago and they're reviewing this. And what, they won't have it done by the time we start, but what they did is we set them a schedule of what activities are gonna start first. And they're gonna approve that stuff first and then they'll eventually approve this draft. They may have comments, I'm guessing, because this is such a big document, but they'll approve that and then come back and then that'll be what governs that side. So.
So this is for the whole, not just the soil, but the building too?
For the building as well, right? And they are our consultant for the demolition of the building, and right now we're putting together a plan for that. Come September, there's a little bit of asbestos in there, but
Yeah.
the district reports that every 6 months, and they are the ones that actually do the report on that as well, so.
Okay,
But that asbestos will be mitigated, it's pretty small, so we'll take that out before the demo even begins, so. But they are also the consultant on it, so.
thank you.
So we really wanted the board to be aware of what's going on with the soil, because it was such a hot topic before.
Mhm.
We're just gonna get ahead of it and just let folks know, hey, we're crossing our Ts and dotting our Is and going down the path we need to.
Appreciate that. And, given past experiences, we have all permits in place and.
All permits in place. So, and on the Park City side, we have a really good working relationship with the soils management at Park City because of the high school and because of all the other work we've been doing over there. And so, I talk to him probably once a week. And so, that's, everything's in place as far as that goes. So,
That's. That's a separate thing, but when we approve for the construction, then you guys will get started going for the fields
correct.
and.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, once GMP is approved, I think you'll probably start seeing stuff next week. You'll probably start seeing. They'll start seeing them fence that off and start to control that area,
Okay.
you know, so that nobody can get in there, all that, you know, you'll see a lot of water probably going down too to prevent, you know, dust and that kind of stuff. You'll start to see the preliminary stuff happening over there.
Great.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, next up, we've got the consent agenda, which includes the regular session minutes from May, closed session minutes from May. The land trust and TSA revised plan, the data science instructional materials adoption. Of U cubed travel request, the 24-25 PBIS report. Interagency agreement with the U of U, personnel information. Business administrator and superintendent contracts, PCEF, salary schedule approval, legal counsel contract, check register for May, and board revenue and expenditures for May.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are right on time. Okay. The Board of Education wants to hear input from community members at our meeting. In order to respect and preserve the time allotted to each presenter on the agenda, each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers representing a group will be limited to 5 minutes. And I would just like to remind everybody that personnel issues are not appropriate to discuss in public comment. And it looks like we've got a few here. So I've got Wendy from Live Like Sam. I could go to somebody else.
Well, I am Wendy, like she mentioned, with Live Like Sam, and I know that several of you are familiar with the work that we do, but I just wanted to give you guys each our impact report and let you know like, some of the things that we're doing here in Park City for the youth. We have a program that has really good impact on reducing depression and anxiety and increasing resilience and quality of life. And so we've impacted lots of students in Park City this year, and this tells a little bit about all of that. And then we have lots of volunteer opportunities for kids, grandkids, and all of the parents can look at our website and see all the great things that we have going on right now. So just, that's all. We just wanted to thank you for your support and let you know what we're doing.
Okay, thanks.
A lot back.
Abigail Flack.
Right, sit down.
Six, and no different.
Hi, guys. First, thank you so much for your public service to our community. We really appreciate what you do. My name is Abby Flack. I'm a parent to a 9th grader and a rising 5th grader at McFarland Elementary. And I'm here as a face to go with one of the names that was on a letter that was sent to your board, and hopefully you've had the opportunity to read last week. So I come before you tonight as a concerned parent. Not to debate any sort of personnel matters, to raise a broader issue and one that I think speaks to the trust between this school district and the families that it serves. So recently something happened at one of the elementary schools that deeply impacted our children, my child. And the most troubling part of it was not the event itself, at all. It was that we as parents were not informed at all. We didn't receive a call, we didn't receive an email. We were left to piece together details from emotional fourth graders. We weren't given the opportunity without the guidance and the context and the support from the school and the district to really address our children probably the way we should have. Our children came home with questions that we couldn't answer. Our children missed year-end traditions that they had planned and prepared for all year. No explanation was given. It was extremely difficult to stop and to understand the tears that all these kids cried because we were never actually informed as parents of the children that were impacted of what took place. So if an incident is serious enough to take into account personnel issues, is it not serious enough to inform parents of the children that were actually involved in that specific scenario? We should be trusted partners, helping our kids understand and process and grow from all these things that they are exposed to every single day in their school days. We were left in the dark. Students were questioned without district personnel, questioned by district personnel without parental knowledge or consent, which isn't just a procedural misstep, but it's like a violation of just kind of a basic trust that we're trying to build between our community, our families, and their schools. So as a parent group, we definitely understand that there are legal and privacy issues when it comes to all the decisions that you are forced to make on a yearly basis. And we're not asking for anything there with regards to confidential details. We're kind of asking for just a commitment to the transparency and communication when it comes to what our children actually experience in the classroom on a day-to-day basis. Nobody knows my daughter as well as I do. I can be a very valuable member of her educational team. I can help kind of circumvent the emotional nature of fourth graders today. There's more knowledge coming at them than they know how to process. And when stressful events occur, a parent can be there to actually help the administrators and the educators. We can be a tool and a teammate to help the children deal with that stress. So, we're kind of asking for those things that we're seeing in the news, the transparency. We don't understand why we weren't involved in the discussion. And we're asking the school district to uphold the, we all belong. Because belonging requires courageous conversations, especially around these hard topics. And if educators are discouraged from addressing these issues and if parents are excluded from the process, then I can't imagine how we're going to raise informed and compassionate students. We're not perfect parents. Our kids aren't perfect. We know the district is working really hard and still learning as well. New roles in the room, many of you are. And in that spirit, we need to kind of create space for growth and not punishment. For those we have teachers here who teach with such integrity, especially when tackling these extremely complex issues with very young children. So what matters most, how we respond in difficult moments, and silence is not the answer. Silence it's deafening. Exclusion is not the answer. Parents felt excluded. The silence was honestly ridiculous. Honest collaborative dialogue is what is needed. And we urge this board to recommit to transparency and to involve us parents in the meaningful conversation to get to the culture of we all belong, because it needs to be a practice and not just a slogan that we're constantly seeing in the park record. We really appreciate everything that you do. We appreciate our administrators and our teachers so much. And we really hope that we get a response from you in regards to the letter that we sent. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. just directly. It's phenomenal. So it's our C school board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next up, we've got Josh Gordon. And then I'll get him.
Hi, Josh. I'm gonna stand, if that's all right.
Yes.
Board, thanks for having us, Superintendent. I just like folks to raise their hand, athletics. There's 5, 6 folks in here that they may speak. I'm not sure. I'm not necessarily the leader of any group, but there's a few of us obviously that have come to this meeting on a regular basis, again, to voice our support in general of the athletic master plan and moving it forward. So again, that's what we're here for. I know the decision later that you guys need to make in this meeting. Again, we advocate for that. We continue to advocate for it. In addition, though, we do advocate for some sort of moving from PowerPoint to actuality. You know what I'm saying? So we've been here for
Did you
9
hear the
months.
soils?
Yeah, I understand. And listen, I understand you guys.
That's like one part.
I understand, I understand the delay is not by this people at this table, but. And there's other things in hand, permits, soils, I get it, right? But every day, week, month is another season that our kids don't get to play on these fields, run on these tracks, so on and so forth. So it adds up, is all I'm saying. And I know you guys are not the lynch or the hurdle, so to speak, but we do need to generally move forward if we can. So that's my message today. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Any other takers for public comment? Last call. All right, thank you to all of you. Okay, now we'll move on into the monthly reports and starting with our employee group report.
Yes, that's first. Hello.
I'm Kristen Hall, and behind me is Jennifer Riggs. We are the new co-presidents for Park City Education Association. With the conclusion of the school year, we'd like to take a moment to express our gratitude and share a few thoughts as we transition into summer. We want to recognize the incredible dedication of our teachers and staff who are wrapping up yet another year of tireless work on behalf of our students. The end of the school year always brings reflection, and we are proud of the resilience, passion, and professionalism demonstrated by all of our, across all of our schools. We wish to offer our heartfelt congratulations to the class of 2025. Their achievements inspire us, and we look forward to seeing all that they will accomplish. We'd like to offer a special thank you to the board and district leadership for the care and consideration you gave to the closing of Treasure Mountain Junior High. PCEA sincerely appreciates your support of teachers, students, and the broader community in honoring the legacy of Treasure. Your thoughtful approach allowed for respectful and meaningful celebrations of a school that has played a significant role in our district's history. We'd also like to extend our sincere thanks to Lindsay Huntsman and Craig Jensen for their ongoing communication and collaboration with educators. Your willingness to listen and engage in open dialogue is deeply appreciated. We hope this spirit of communication continues to grow, not only from district leadership, but also from the board, as we all work together to support our schools and community. We're especially grateful to the board for always putting students first and showing their support for all the families in our district, regardless of their documentation status. Your commitment to inclusivity and equity does not go unnoticed. As we enter the summer months, we want to highlight how critical the food camp program is, especially during uncertain times. It is a lifeline for many families, and we thank you for ensuring that it remains a priority. Likewise, summer school plays a vital role in supporting students who need extra academic help or stability. These programs are essential, and we urge the board and district to continue supporting and expanding them when appropriate. Looking ahead, we encourage this board to continue being actively involved in upcoming caucuses and political races, especially those that directly impact public education. Your voices and leadership are powerful, and your engagement can make a real difference for our schools and students. Thank you as well for your support of UEA and PCEA efforts around House Bill 267, which prohibited collective bargaining. We're proud to share that the initiative to repeal this law was successful and will be officially certified by June 23rd to appear on the 2026 ballot. We hope you'll stand with us in advocating for fair licensed professional agreements and continued investment in public education. We urge you to stay vigilant and engaged in legislative matters and to be willing to have the hard necessary conversations that affect education policy in our state. Finally, we ask you to remain mindful of how much our students and educators are impacted by the budget. Please include PCEA in those discussions whenever appropriate. We are solution-minded and ready to collaborate. Thank you again for your continued partnership and commitment to the success of every child in our district.
Thank you. And who's doing the graduation?
Jamie, do we have other employees? Gina's here, Gina.
Oh. Come on up, please.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. So just to follow that up with our PCCA, like State Classified Employees Association, our super big, super exciting news this year is that we have a full board for the first time in I don't know how long. So I will be your president again next year, so you'll get to see me a little bit more. But this year I will have a new vice president in Reina Velasquez. We will have a secretary treasurer in Jason Jensen. We will have a clerical board member in Rebecca Hall, a custodian board member in Michelle Montoya, a food service board member in Amber Lucking, a paraeducator board member in Quetzal Morales, a skilled trade board member in Greg Bear, a tech services board member in Mr. Joe Stout, and a transportation board member in Jason Harrelson. So we got a chance, I know, right? A lot of people. But the exciting part about that is that these are each people that work in all of these job families. And so we are truly going to be able to have really meaningful conversations with Ms. Huntsman and Mr. Craig. We had kind of an impromptu meeting, Mr. Craig. We had an impromptu meeting that he did not realize we were having, but was willing to hop on and talk with me a little bit last week. And it felt really good to be able to share information from all of these people and all of these job families. And so it feels good to be able to actually represent our classified employees. Some of the kudos that came out of that were Mr. Colby Pierce has been working his bottom off in so many different avenues. So we just want to give a shout out to him because he's been working so hard across the district and his group. I think Clay was mentioned as well with buildings and grounds. So we just want to shout out to him because we know how hard it is when it's busy like this. Also, Ms. Ava Montejano, who is over at Trailside, has been working hard, kind of going above and beyond to help in community outreach. It's been a trying time for a lot of our families and students, and she has really gone out of her way to do the things that need to be done. And we just want to make sure that she's being recognized as well. Really quickly, brand new news as of yesterday, NEA is creating a new program. They're wanting to build an ESP peer mentorship program across the country. We really feel like it'll be a valuable asset to help our ESP employees continue their education, continue growing and learning. Our cohort is going to be made up of teams from Colorado, Florida, Illinois, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Ohio, Oregon, Vermont, New York, and Utah. And I get to be on that team, which means lots of classwork this summer. And it will end with a trip to Washington, DC in October. But I think it's just really cool that we're going to continue to work at a national level and pave the way and really open this flagship opportunity to ESPs across the country. And Utah's in the middle of that. We've really been growing and showing that we are valuable. And NEA is opening their eyes and seeing us. And I think that's really cool. So anyway, working hard. Our ESPs are still out there driving buses and cleaning buildings during summer school and helping as paras and doing food service work and tech work to keep everybody busy on their computers. So building and grounds are working hard as well. So we're still around. We're working all summer long, working hard. And we appreciate all the hard work you guys are doing as well. So if you have any questions, let us know and we'll try to continue the dialogue.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yes. All right, now we'll have the high school graduation report.
Okay, I'm happy to be here today to talk to you about the class of 2025, and thank you for the photos. If you haven't had a chance to look at them, those of you board members that were there that got to participate, thank you for coming. There's some great pics in there. All right, so our class of 2025, we had 401 graduates, which included 7 kids graduating early, which our counseling staff helps them achieve that goal, which is set pretty early in high school. 74% of them are attending a 4-year college. 11% of them are attending a 2-year college. 35% plan to leave Utah for their education, and 43% plan to stay in Utah for their education. 8 are joining the military, that's between the Air Force and the Army. Approximately $15 million are earned on scholarships this year by the class of 2025, and their average ACT score by the time they graduated was 23.4. For comparison, the national average is 19.4, and that score is really a culmination of the entire district. That doesn't just belong to the high school, that belongs to all of us.
When did they take the BAC?
10th grade.
10th grade, yeah. And that's opt-in, whereas the ACT is census tested. So, all right, we have 77% of the class of 2025 earned college credit through concurrent enrollment, which is huge. I don't have the percentage for the kids that earned credit through AP because those scores came out in July. So that will be a statistic that will be forthcoming in the fall, but not available yet. 63% of them participated in a school athletic team, which we really like to see. 48% participated in athletics outside of school, and 26% participated in theater and music. Right, this is a great statistic we love. 17% of our kids are in this class are first generation. And of those kids, 57% of them plan to attend a 1, 2, or 4. That's all the quantitative data that I have for you today. Anecdotally, I will tell you that each class develops its own personality as it comes through. I don't know what grade that personality starts to really form, because by the time they get to us in 10th grade, it's fairly well established. Now going to elementary, I'll see how that comes up. But I can say that the admin staff and the faculty over there at the high school, we have genuinely enjoyed having the class of 2025 with us, and we have loved to watch them grow. They've definitely had their difficult moments for us where everybody says, oh, that's great. But they've got some great leadership in that grade of kids that we have seen just grow and develop through school, and the leadership opportunities. And we don't necessarily collect data on that. And maybe that's something that we should, that as they go through, they've really come up. They're going to do great things, and we generally will miss them, and we can try.
Thank you. Yes, next up, we've got athletic facility, so these are decision items, so. Tell us where we're at.
Song and dance, right?
Yes. Canine equine extravaganza.
Okay, I'll have to work on that for next time. Good afternoon, board. It's great to see you all. Scott Later with MHT Architects. Wanted to give you an update in terms of where we stand with the athletic project, and not only touch on where we've been just briefly, but then kind of where we're going, particularly to Dozier. As you know, with the master plan adoption, we're really focusing on the first, second, and fourth phases of that plan. Primarily on the right-hand side is the improvements to Treasure that JD spoke about, and that's underway, hopefully shortly here with your approval. Bid numbers did come back positive, and all things are pointing very well on that. Our attention is really shifted over to Dozier at this point, and what are the next steps there? Slide to the next slide. Just as a reminder for everyone, at the Treasure Mountain Sports Complex, we are planning on turf, baseball, softball, 2 multi-use sports fields, and then 8 new tennis courts. In between all of those is a number of support buildings, restroom facilities, bleachers, kind of the whole kit that would come with a project of this size. Again, that's all optimistically underway over the next couple of weeks, and you should be seeing a lot of progress with that. As you may know already, part of the exercise that we're doing at Dozier is as a reevaluation of where the parts and pieces can go. There was an ordinance that was found from 1986 that really created a 100-foot buffer on that north side that limits any open, or it preserves open space and limits the ability to put a building. And so as a district and with the team, we went back and looked at what are the possibilities moving forward, and that really, with other easements, available land areas, existing facilities, that really meant that we're kind of splitting in half the project on the east and west. We slide to the next slide. Part of the challenge of that and opportunity is that the western side of, we'll call it your home bleacher side, has a significant grade, 6 to 8 feet in some places. And it's about as far away as we can get from some of the plumbing infrastructure. And so we're looking at how we can actually build those new facilities directly underneath the bleachers where possible. And then create a new concrete bleacher concourse area that would provide new plaza space, which is a concept and idea that we had in the previous design iterations, and then providing support space on the backside. We're working closely with the city to make sure that we're preserving the 28 feet height restriction that is appropriate for the zoning area, as well as tightening up the envelope for these spaces as much as possible. So the next one. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to see in 3D. And again, these are very, very concept driven. Really, the focus of this presentation will go to the Planning Commission in a week and a half here, to seek conditional use permit process and get that all approved so that we can continue with the design efforts. From the parking lot side, we're approaching from moving east to west through a new entry portal that would house a number of functions, including team rooms for visitors, concessions areas, restroom facilities, potentially a flex space that could host different community events. We're seeing on the far side, and if we flip to the next image, the new arranged picture configuration. Our target right now is to seat anywhere from 17 to 1900 seats in the new facility. And that's in conjunction with new plaza space that would be perched kind of on the right and left of the press box areas. We're really trying to maintain some of the ideas that were in the previous design, where we're creating a separation between spectators and the participants, and then we feel like that's going to help with the game management scenarios. Go to the next one. So again, a little bit hard to see on these images, but on the backside, we would have additional support functions, concessions areas, restrooms, storage areas. Again, the building really situates nicely to pair with the existing architecture, and that's part of our next step of development, is not only right sizing the program spaces to meet your budget, but blending that with the existing architecture and design ideas. We didn't necessarily mention, you feel free to share the next one, that the track is still scheduled to be replaced with a post-tension track system. That'll be a long-term solution, particularly in your climate. And then we're kind of looking from the view from the north. We'll go back one more. We're from the Lucky John neighborhood, where that would be a new turf grass area, kind of looking towards those two new complexes and facilities. From a very high level, that's where we are. As mentioned, our next step is to approach the city through the planning commission process, get their approval. With your approval as well, that really starts the clock on the MHT and design team side. With the optimistic hope over the next 2 months, month and a half, that we have bid documents out to the contractor, and then we go through the whole process that we just went through on Treasure. Happy to answer any specific questions. The last of it is just a little bit of, for the planning commission, what they always want to know, what the fences and what the plans and all the other fun stuff associated with city ordinances are. And we are in compliance with all the things that we have now know, including the 100-foot ordinance on that north side.
So can we go back a couple of slides?
Maybe that to the,
No, the one after.
This way, I think.
Sorry, the other way. It was, that view. This makes it look like we're having the ground on the high school side.
it's a byproduct of this program. The north side is 6 to 8 feet as well, and we are planning on maintaining that berm so that there's not only a landscape buffer, but a place to sit.
Okay, so
one of the
all things
things-
are still grading, existing grading around level set.
Correct, yeah, that's correct. One of the things we're talking with the superintendent is the need for a security fence and kind of separation from that landscape zone. So that includes lighting and kind of an improvement in the visibility on that north side. Talked about that could potentially be where middle school students are hanging out during the game day experience, right?
With supervision and.
Away from everyone else, but creating that secure zone, but yes, it would still be that hillside that you're seeing.
And the same next to the school, but we'd still have the grading.
Actually, if we go back to the overall plan, which is one of the first slides, the current thought is that we level a lot of the buffer landscape zone between the track and the new addition. To create stronger connection between the high school itself and the track facility. And part of that could be relocating existing material on site. We're not anticipating any export activities, but trying to find a level building plan for those entry pieces, but then also the new relocated visitor bleachers, which are a little harder to see on the screen today. Thank you.
Can the peanut gallery ask a question?
Sure.
Has the route for school buses changed or thought process? I know it wasn't approved by the planning commission. To the front of the school now versus Lucky John? I know the emergency vehicles can come there, but.
I thought that was a
Is the plan
traffic
going to the front of the school now with the school buses?
Yeah, I don't know that we've seen the final traffic study. It has not been discussed internally at this point. So I would say it's an option, doesn't mean it's gonna happen, still gotta figure all that out.
Thank you.
So, okay, we got one question just from our previous discussion on this. I don't know if you're able to misspeak, but concessions on that entry building.
Yeah, I apologize. Concessions are still located over on the west side.
And we are currently putting them behind the building.
There could be opportunities there. Where we're showing them currently is up on that plaza space looking towards the field. Yes,
Okay,
correct.
great, thank you.
So I have a question, so go back to slide 3.
Overall plan.
Yeah, so the structure to the left of that, is that the building face, do those face, the LDS church area?
That's correct. So the bleachers would be in the same general orientation as your existing home bleachers.
Okay,
And then the back side of that would be facing the LDS church.
so we just flipped it.
A little bit. Your current concession building is pinched up in the corner between the bleachers and
Up there,
the fence line. We're taking a lot of those functions and putting them in one building. There's an economy of scale associated with construction on that.
and the entrance is still in the same area?
That's
but
correct,
We'll
yeah.
have,
We would have two, you could still enter from the LDS church parking lot as well as the main entrance.
so we'll have 2 entrances?
That's my understanding. of that.
Yeah, we're still trying to maintain that access point. I know that you're exiting, entering on another property, but we're maintaining that gate and that access point.
Okay.
Real quick, a couple things to point out, just because we know there are topics of conversation. We are preserving the existing lighting as is. There'll be no change to that. Same with the video scoreboard on the south side. That's a recent acquisition and a purchase for the district. This will facilitate the need to relocate shot put and the track, the long jump, to the south. And then we are providing a new 8-foot sidewalk around the entire perimeter of the track for just better game day management and circulation. There was a question asked in a previous session about accessibility, that will be an accessible route around the entire property down at that point. Any other questions about where we're going and the next steps?
No question, but I'm one of the problem neighbors. So first of all, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I know this got trumped up by the setback, as much as our conversation with you, but this is great. We really appreciate your flexibility and understanding from our perspective along Lucky John. And seeing this will make a huge impact for, I think, the community, the street and the neighborhood in general. So thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Look forward to seeing next.
Okay, well,
stage of the
we'll keep going.
designs, yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
I think we need a decision, right?
Okay. We said.
So let's talk about what we're really deciding today. Really what you're deciding today is that you're okay with the concept, right? Although Scott's correct in that bids came back favorable, there was a lot of things added on the Treasure Mountain complex. And so some of those, we're working through dollars, massaging dollars. And we may be in a situation where either we value engineer the Treasure Mountain complex, or when we go out and bid on this part, we do a base bid and then we do alternates that are in conjunction. So if the pricing comes in well, then we have those. So that's really what you're approving for us to move forward, is that, yeah, if you agree with the concept, the full concept's going to the city for the CUP. But that doesn't mean we wouldn't need to make adjustments along the way to stay within the budget, and not have to come back to you and ask for more funds.
Specifically the dozier concept that we're.
Correct.
So that will stay within that amount that we already budgeted.
We're, that is our
That is our
number one
plan.
priority.
That is still in discussion. So I make a motion to approve the concept design for dozier, as we just said.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Hopefully that's the last.
We've
time.
been voting yes. The record to show. Okay, next, is that you for guaranteed maximum?
Yeah, so you have before you the guaranteed maximum price, that's the terminology used for the budget, just for the Treasure Mountain complex piece, we're at 23.1 million. It's a tentative amount, there's still things being worked on with the bids that have come in. Like I said, we may look at some value engineering there as well after discussion further with other administrators. But what we're asking for, because we don't meet till August, is that we approve the tentative GMP. We will work administratively with our MOCA and MHTN teams to get the best price possible, and with Hogan. But it allows us to move forward and not have further delays as we work through that final pricing.
Any questions or discussion from either?
I make a motion to approve the GMP.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Let's get moving.
Yeah. Don't see, we just did it again. We said yes.
Noted.
All right, Tracy.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Hello. It's one of my last duties of Trailside. To try to leave something good. So if you've seen Trailside's logo in the past, it was 3 years ago, like, it's gonna be my big first thing, and a lot of other things took priority, but we got here. We have some stick figures climbing up a mountain. Very cute, not really functional as letterhead logo, hard to put on anything. I noticed there was a district doing recently, and it just said PCSD. Because printing little stick figures was hard. So a team of us at school, which included teachers, classified, myself, we worked with Victory Sports through VSN, and they have a design team. And we went back and forth with iterations, and really the whole impetus was just to have like a stronger logo, a stronger image, something, you know, we can put, everyone is, we're funny, we're the only school without actual school colors. We're the only ones that never had them, I don't know why, but we've never had official colors, so people just choose colors, and so there was nothing ever consistent. And so really trying to create, you know, consistent logo, something we can be tied to. So we're proposing red, white, and black, those are traditionally what we've chosen as Trailside, so we would continue that. And I think the most exciting thing is we are looking at adding an elk as our mascot. Partly because we've spent mornings chasing them off the playground. Megan's like, they're back, and I'm like, okay, let's go. So we've become good elk herders, but they're just a good, you know, we want to keep that same Trailblazer name, but have a good image to go with it. So we think an elk would do that. An elk is a trailblazer. We see them blazing their own trails. They're strong. I think something that our kids could see in the community and be tied to, and it's really actually fun when you're over there at recess and you look up and you can see them spotted on the hill. They just chill right behind us. So we thought that would be just a nice tie for our students. One thing, this mainly involved staff input. But we thought it would be fun once we do have an elk to involve the students in naming the elk. So Megan's already got that all in her brain of good ideas. And so just get that, all the student involvement, get them excited about having, a new logo. So if you wanna scroll down, we'll show you the design. So they gave us, it's nice, and there's a whole logo book they give us with different, if you do flip the colors and you do things. So we can have letterhead, but we can also just have a strong logo and a strong image, so. Yeah, so I'm excited about this, and I think it would be nice, to freshen up. Move forward.
The same group is doing logos for Eckerville as well as the high school to ensure alignment K-12. We really needed a branding refresh that's aesthetically pleasing. And Tracy was willing to be the pioneer for our elementary group to really take this and move forward with the new logo for Chaucer.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I know, I think it's exciting, it's fun, yeah, I think it'll be fun to have, people can tie to them.
Is this a decision?
Oh, do we have to approve? Yes, oh, okay.
The colors? Yes. But go for
I
like.
make a motion to translate new colours and the.
I second. Okay, and all in favor?
Thank you. Oh, I gotta get a t-shirt.
Okay, next we have open enrollment. Like,
Yeah, so
I'll share. Yes.
we, Amy Jenkins, Carolyn Simon, and myself sat as well as Randy with our elementary principals and went through open seats per grade level. Our threshold is 23-1 for elementary. So we really wanted to get close to that threshold. So we set the threshold at 20, leaving room for people who move into our district, because we know that will happen over the summer. So as we reviewed each site, we came up with Harley's has 34 open seats. Jeremy has 38. Trailside has 17. And then Poland has 82. So the total for open seats is 171. Caveat is we have about 20 sitting in the hopper who have already applied previously. So I think to be prudent, we would set the threshold for 150. And really looking at specific grade levels at specific sites. So I feel confident with 150 and opening enrollment K-5 to out of district boundary students, but ultimately it is your decision.
Still a seat.
So what is the process of how this will be rolled out? Because is it that they go to the school and say they have a third grader and a fifth grader, but they can't, there's no room in the fifth grade, but there's room for a third grade?
Yeah, so they'll do an application. We will collect a fee. We'll determine the enrollment period, but because we're in that early enrollment period, we would stay open until we didn't have the seats. But it's really gonna be case by case basis and availability. What is Monday.com will timestamp once they complete the application, so that'll allow us to see who completed what in what order. And then we'll screen those. Carolyn, Amy, and I had set aside time because we haven't done this for several years to really flesh out that process to see what it looks like. And as a group, we will review those
So
applications.
in a case like Kathleen just mentioned, would we give the option, so we can accommodate a third grader, but we can't accommodate. a fifth grader?
Potentially, or we may say, we don't have room at this school, but we have space for both of them at this school. So there's gonna be exceptions, there's gonna be weird scenarios that we're gonna have to tease out because it's been a while since we've been open.
Well, you didn't think you can do it.
Yeah. And it's the same time that a parent wants to move their child from, say, like I discussed, they wanna go to McCollum because of that school care there and where their kid goes, there's.
They want a school
They
choice
will do
within
that
the
at the
boundary.
same time too.
That might open up another seat, right? So maybe
Yeah.
moves from McCollum, that might open up
Yeah,
a seat.
this.
I think,
Wow.
timing is essential because Randy was shared some numbers, how many kids between ages 4 and 14 are we?
Yeah,
Projected to
so,
lose.
so in our county, in Wasatch County, it's about 600 over the next 5 years. In our county, it's 451 is what they're projecting. So that's ages 5 to 14.
But that's for the whole county.
That's for the
Yes.
entire county. Yeah, that's for the entire. county.
Increase, I'm sorry, is that what you said?
Decrease. So we-
Decrease.
We're saying in Summit County, kids ages 5 to 14
Or decrease.
are increasing by 451 over the next 5 years.
And that's summer, North Summit, South Summit.
So that's Summit County, period, yeah, all Summit County, and then Wasatch is looking at 600 that they would lose over the next 5 years,
Okay.
so.
So the timing seems appropriate.
Yes.
To open for K-5. 6-12, I feel we should stay close. Let's let realignment settle.
Mhm,
And we also know that that's where our bubbles happen.
mhm.
Many of those who leave us K-5 come back in grade 6-12.
So do these children have a guaranteed spot every year, or do they have to apply every year?
Yes, until there's a transition. So transition means you're going from elementary to middle school to high school.
So that's when they need to reapply.
Other questions?
How do we let people know that we're doing this?
We'll work on communications, and really trying to streamline the application process. Having communications go out from the 4 elementary schools, communications going out from the district, social media, the website. Because this is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
And we know
Newspaper,
we have
radio.
people waiting in the wings for us to open enrollment to out-of-boundary students.
When is it appropriate to do a similar exercise 6 to 12?
This time next year.
Okay.
Once realignment is settled, I would feel good about saying, okay, let's look at 6-12. We've had a year under our belts with a 6-8, 9-12 model. Let's see where there might be some open spots for
Right.
kids.
We're actually required to come to you in November, right? And show you projections and where we are instructional station wise, so that'll be the first view of it.
We'll get an October 1 count.
Right.
And then we'll come with projections in November to the goal meeting.
And if you get kids coming from Wasatch County, because we certainly have communities out there, what's the money that we get? It's not.
So any child you have in your school district, you can generate a WPU for.
Right.
You'll generate that, and then you receive half of that district's local generation, basically. So really at this point, I think Wasatch, they actually pay us a little bit, right?
They're the only ones that.
Yeah. We're paying Grand, we're paying Alpine,
South Summit.
we're paying South Summit, North Summit.
See if we can change that.
And so it's really, yeah, is it gonna be dollar for dollar, you know, if there's 10 kids from South Summit will come to Park City? Are we still gonna pay South Summit? Yeah, we are, right, because our local generation is greater than their local generation. But at the end of the day, we're paying the staff the same regardless. And so if there are kids we can put in that class, they'll keep class size down, it just helps us overall bottom line.
We're still gonna have the same teacher in a secondary classroom, whether there's 10 kids or 15 kids. So we're not adding additional staff by opening the boundaries.
Yes.
Is there any kind of factoring in like distance from the schools, or is it just gonna be solely applied first?
Yes, it's always whoever applies first, because we currently have families that commute. I think there was one who lived in Fruitland and commuted to Park City.
We just have, people that live like in Park City, have a Park City address, like Creek Village, for example. Very close to like Trailside and their friends, but I mean, they've been wanting to get in for a long time. So there's no factor in like their.
We don't look at proximity, it's just based on how the applications come in.
To apply right away.
Yeah. Yeah, Silver Creek is South Summit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Well,
Questions?
no, so we need a motion to approve this
Yeah.
month. Well, I make a motion to approve the plan to open up, within these boundaries, enrollment for our emergency.
Yes, second, enthusiastically.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, go forth and open.
Yes.
We have some work to do.
Of those things.
Okay, and last but not least of the decision items, we have a few additions, right, to our school fees.
Yeah, two additions. One is for student badge ID replacement. These are really replacement costs. Yonder pouch replacement as well, which is $45. The student ID badge is $5. That would be at the high school and Anchor, so that those schools don't have to absorb the cost of things when the kids are losing, basically. So this would be considered a first reading, so that approval, you'd have to open it up to the public to see if there's any comment on fees. But this would be a first reading, we come back to you in August for a second reading. It wouldn't be implemented until after the second reading.
And this came about, the badge ID replacement, as we moved to a closed campus for 9th and 10th graders and an open campus for 11th and 12th. They're looking to go their color coded badges based on grade level, so they can then manage who should and shouldn't leave campus. So that is one of the reasons why this fee came forth, as well as kids just losing the door badges and they can't get in. So it's more at the secondary level than the elementary level. And then yonder pouches, it is highly likely that we're gonna move to yonder pouches 612. And they are not cheap. And so just having that on the fee schedule in the event they are lost, we can assess a fee for the replacement.
And do they usually go home?
Yonder pouches?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I don't use mine. Yeah, I've seen them on the buses, so.
They stay in their possession, they get locked in first period,
Right.
and assuming you're on campus all day, they get unlocked in fourth period.
But they don't necessarily get left at school. right?
Yes.
Okay.
Some likely incidentally get left at school. But they should be going home and staying on the person.
I just wasn't sure what the intention was there. Okay, thank you. Okay, so can we get a motion to approve this?
I make a motion to approve these updated school fees.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We'll be delighted by a program for young.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, we have policies for posting. We have policy 2000, student on the board, policy 7015, alcohol and drug-free workplace, policy 7039, remote work, policy 7040, extra duty assignments, and policy 7084, shine. I know, I'm trying to pull it up.
Salary supplement for highly needed educators, so big special ed and math. It used to be TSSP. But now it's being passed on to the district to manage that program.
Salary supplement, yeah, okay, great, and do we need any
Let's
discussion?
start with a motion, right? Here we go.
Oh, yes,
So I make a motion to approve these policies.
Second that motion.
That's a good
a comment.
Oh.
Just do the typo. It says remote work rather than remote work in your remote work policy. Just a.
Got it.
And it's so brief, it's such a short policy.
It's very short, that's all right.
Okay. We'll fix it, any discussion on the policies for posting? All in favor? Aye.
I'd like to see it in the list.
Yes, and next up, we have policies for adoption. The following policies have been posted for 20 days and they are now before the board for adoption. So we have policy 7051, military leave, and policy 10115, administering medication to students.
Make a motion to approve those two policies for adoption.
Nice. Any discussion, any questions?
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We're ahead of schedule.
No, it's happening along here, 7 minutes.
We have to wait until 7 minutes.
Oh, do we have to?
So you have to wait to see it. So, that's what, that's what they get a 5 minute break.
Okay. Yeah. We can take it back. That's your only one, and then we'll meet back at 6 or. All right, folks, we're gonna do the budget meeting now, so I'll take the motion, Richard, motion.
Motion to close the open session and move into the budget hearing. I make a motion to close, and we can move into the budget hearing.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
And then I have a 2-slide presentation. if you
Oh my
want that
God.
real quick.
It's like,
Move on.
Another budget.
All right, first slide just shows the expenditures. This is what you're approving tonight. You're approving total expenditures, not all the nitty gritty details in the budget, right? You're approving $1 amount. With this, the 25 year has been adjusted a little bit, just to make sure we don't overspend in certain categories. The 26 years is the same as you saw it a month ago, right? And the difference on the 27 years, maybe, or 25 years, maybe $700,000, right? Spread through all the funds.
Wow.
So one of the things we have to do is whatever you approve expenditure wise, if at the end of the year we exceed that, it becomes an audit finding. My goal is not to have an audit finding, right? So we'll be a little heavy on those. The second slide is the property tax rates. We still do not have the basic school levy rates. We've got the amount from the legislature, which is still an increase of a half increment. The rates you'll be approving tonight are the voted local levy, the board local levy, and the capital local levy. You'll also be approving the debt service. The debt service, however, is really just our principal and interest due next year. Into the taxable value gives us that rate, right? It's an automatic calculation. So all of these rates are within the certified tax rate the county's provided us. Part of the motion will be if that certified tax rate changes between now and the end of the month, that I have the authority to go in and stay within that certified tax rate. I've had it before where the rate was lowered or excuse me, raised, and we weren't able to capture that full certified tax rate. We've got to capture that full certified tax rate for us. So end of the day, we're not raising taxes. Does it mean some taxpayers may see an increase? Possibly, because if their value goes up, they're gonna see an increase, right? If their value goes down, they're gonna see a decrease. Those things are still into play that we don't have control of. So, with that. we can
So-
proceed. Yeah,
When will we hear from the legislator?
on the basic levy, email you as soon as we hear. We usually hear from Sam at the state.
And is it
Before-
usually around that percentage?
It's well, for a few years, it was at the 16 increment range because they had that extra WPU and money, so. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be in this range. My guess is with because our assessed valuation went up, I think statewide. Counties are beyond the point where they're decreasing, right, from over increasing the first, 3-4 years ago. So I think we'll be somewhat in that ballpark, but whether that's up or down, I don't know. I almost wouldn't anticipate it to be higher than that, but no guarantees, because I don't know what's going on in Wayne County. Essentially, right? So I only know what's going on in Summit County.
Okay.
So. Okay,
Okay, do you need,
I think.
so moving forward, yeah,
That,
gotta read that.
oh, the board may entertain a motion to adopt the.
No, we gotta start at the top where it says. declare the
Oh,
public
I'm
hearing.
sorry.
So you gotta do 25
It's the right
years.
script.
Sorry, the legislature makes this up.
Okay. Well, I already declared it open, right?
So you're declaring the public hearing open, see if anyone wants to speak to it.
Okay, I'm declaring the public
For
hearing on the
24.
final budget for fiscal year 24-25 open. We'll take public comment. There's any.
Have we heard any, final numbers for the state of the ESA?
The ESA, as far as I know, they're planning on distributing all of that. I did have a call from the UEA about that. I told them the same thing we've shared here to say, if they fund it, we'll fund it. If they take it back, we'll take it back. Whatever the mechanism is, we'll mirror that state mechanism. So I don't think you're gonna see anything with the Supreme Court till 27 probably. Anyway, so I think 26, we're gonna probably be safe. So, but I've seen stranger things.
Okay, given that we don't have any public comment here, I will declare the public hearing on the final budget for fiscal year 24-25 closed. Can I get a motion to approve the final budget for fiscal year 24-25 as amended and included in the budget document?
I make a motion to approve the final budget for the fiscal year 24-25 as amended and included in the budget document.
Second. Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
And I now declare the public hearing on the proposed budget for fiscal year 25-26 open. Do we have any public comment?
I have a quick question about the legislature that allowed for the stipend for ESPs this year. I know that they did the language per COVID language, which excludes some of our ESPs from that. Will we be able to match it so that all ESPs get that money, or are we still trying to figure out what that's gonna look like?
Yeah, we've not had that discussion internally, but we'll need to have that discussion internally.
Okay, so can I just ask that it be considered, that all ESPs get that, and if not, I'd just like to see what that looks like as far as how that will go out. I know that wasn't a you guys thing, that was that thing, and we are working at the state level. I know our president has had discussion with Mr. Schultz, so that we can get that changed in years coming. But this year, we're stuck with what we have, so we would just appreciate it back with that anyway.
And now declare the public hearing on the proposed budget for fiscal year 2025 or 25-26 closed. Can I get a motion to approve the proposed budget for fiscal year 25-26 with a recommended tax rate of 0.002164? This recommended rate does not include the basic levy or the charter levy, which are both finalized by the Utah State Tax Commission. If the certified tax rate is adjusted, the Board of Education reserves the right to adjust the final tax rate to yield the tax dollars currently proposed in the budget as presented. Otherwise, this will be the final rate set by the Board of Education.
I make a motion to approve the proposed budget for fiscal year 25-26 as stated, because I'm not reading it.
I second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And busy figuring out how to do this without a tax increase.
Yes. Okay, and now, can I?
So a motion to adjourn the budget hearing?
Yeah, and
I make a motion to adjourn the budget.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Do you need one for public meeting? Motion to adjourn public meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn the public
August 19th.
until.
Oh, go back into it, or adjourn, we done? Adjourn this meeting to the next one, right? We should be honest.
Yeah, we just go from the budget hearing to
Back
the
to,
next meeting.
okay,
That was,
August 19th.
So, to adjourn until our next regular session meeting in August later.
All right, yes, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.